Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I am back. It is time for another 0AD Alpha 23 replay analysis. Today's game is between myself. I'll be playing as the Britons, and my rating at this point was 1319. I'm playing a chap called Softcase. His rating is 1293, and he's playing as Iberians. And just to explain, I mean, if you haven't watched the previous videos or you missed my messages, I've been busy with family stuff. As you can imagine, it's the summer, so that's what happens. Occasionally, you have to spend time with your family, which is absolutely wonderful. And we've been going and visiting family in Portugal and in the UK. And I'm going to shut up now because you probably want to know a bit more about the game. So he's like my opponent started by producing 5 women, whereas I've gone for 4 women, which will give me the food to produce another horseman. And strange, well, we've gone for different strategies. He's gone for building a farmstead to begin with, and I've gone for building a storehouse. So 2 different approaches to the game. And I think looking at his map, the reason that he's gone for the storehouse, he wants to stay inside the city walls, and sorry, not the storehouse. There's not a lot of wood inside, so there's no point in him building a storehouse just to gather a small amount of wood. So I've got now, I should have, yeah, I've got my 2 horsemen, and I'm just producing as much as I can in the way of women now, because they're much cheaper. They don't cost any wood, and they don't cost any metal or stone or anything like that. And I'm instantly using the wood that I've saved by not building soldiers to build some houses. Interestingly, my opponent's gone for a very different approach. What he's doing is, after initially producing those 5 women, he's only now produced cavalry and soldiers. So it's a strange, well, I think it's an interesting approach. I wouldn't go for that personally. I don't think many of the better players would. Certainly when I've seen it, everyone produces a load of women to begin with, just so that you can basically get as many people as you can chopping wood and getting as many of resources in as you can early on. And while you look at things, I'm now building my 3rd house. My opponent is only just considering and finally looking at building his 1st house. So that's, again, not particularly great play on his part. He's going to get himself pop capped if he's not careful. I've got my cavalry doing a bit of a scout around. Again, that's another thing my opponent's not doing. He's very much staying inside his city walls at the moment. And it's only about now that he's now looking, finally he's going to start producing women rather than soldiers, which will help him to maintain his resources, because food and wood are what you really need to get through that first stage, and he's actually trying to get through that first stage as quickly as possible. I've finally noticed that there's these 3 fruit trees here, that each of them hold 500 food, so I'm finally getting the berry upgrade, and I've built a storehouse in between not storehouse, a farmstead in between the 3 of them, with the idea that I can make the most of that, and that will reduce my need to transition into farms early on. So as we approach the 3-minute mark, my population is currently in the mid-30s. It's hopefully just about to go to 37. It is now indeed, and my opponent is on 30. So I'm starting to build up a little lead in the population stakes, and that way he's starting to fall behind. He's now built a 2nd farmstead or he's building, I can't remember which way around it is, but he's got that 2nd farmstead out the front, and that's going to be exposed to basically, if I were to make an attack. It's interesting that he's chosen to do that, but not to reinforce it with any troops or anything. So it's a risk putting anything like that out the front of your base. Sometimes you might want to put a storehouse like here, but then if you populate it only with women and a cavalry rush comes, and my opponent does have quite a few cavalry, he'd be able to just massacre them really, really quickly. One of the reasons that I've got the houses around here there is because there's such a large amount of women. We've got 16, and I want to make sure there's plenty of houses that if a rush comes in, they can then just duck into the houses, and hopefully the soldiers can help fight off the enemy. So at this stage, I'm now on a population of 44. My opponent is still capped at 30. uh, which is putting him, already I've got a 50% greater population, but that all becomes clear as to why, because he's now looking to move to phase 2. He's starting to build his first barracks. He's done that in a strange way. I would have built the barracks first to make sure that you can still produce troops while you're in the process of upgrading. He hasn't done that, so slightly out of sync there. And I'm building a couple more houses around this farmstead, because there's going to be some farms, and I'm also getting my soldiers here, my slingers, mining some stone, because what I'm really going to need is to basically produce as many slingers as possible. And now in under 5 minutes he's already hit the town phase, but he's on a population of 30 as opposed to my 49. So although I can't actually attack him because most of them are women, like the vast majority, it still means that I'm collecting a far greater amount of resources than he is. I'm just getting the berry upgrade. Was that the basket upgrade? Sorry, the baskets. I've got the berry upgrade. The baskets, which means that my troops will be able to carry, I forget what the percentage is, but a greater number of troops, so of resources. So let's say that, for instance, these guys were originally carrying 10. They'll hopefully now, once this upgrade is complete, they'll be able to carry, like, I don't know, 12 or 15, which means that they're less walking time between the things. It's a really underrated upgrade according to Borg, and it's one of the reasons that I've started using it. So I'm just going to wait until this is done, and then I'll have a look and see what the actual thing is. Okay, it's 50%. That's incredible, actually. That is a really great upgrade. Now each one of these is able to carry 15 rather than 10, which is just phenomenal. My horses are doing some good scouting. You'll have noticed it's a medium-sized map. Actually, I don't normally play medium-sized maps, but now with all of these trees gone, I need all of the berry trees. I really need to start transitioning to farms, and haven't done a particularly good job of that, because I should have set those farms up in advance. And I've got 2 farms coming now. I've got plenty of wood. So how many women are there? There's about 15. They should really be making 3 farms. They've only got 2, and one of them could have stayed out here to build it there. And there's the 3rd farm going up. So let's go and have a quick look at the map and see what's going on. So it's a large map, as I say, or it's a medium-sized map, which makes for it's easier in some ways and it's more difficult in some ways. So you're less likely to be attacked early on because it's a much bigger distance, but there's also greater scope to attack on the flanks. With this sort of map, it's much more difficult to take control of areas. So if we look at my opponent now, these guys have nearly finished. He's not swift on upgrades, I have to say. Let's have a look. Are there any upgrades here? No, none. So he's not just got a smaller population, but he's also not. He's also pop capped again, and he's not producing. He's not got any upgrades, so he's not producing at remotely the same speed that I am. So, I'm on. You look at how quickly my numbers there are changing compared to him. So I'm on 871. He's on 285. I'm 901. Okay, it's now starting to look more similar, but yeah, that's because we're spending some of the resources as well. But you can see that the production is my gathering rates are far quicker than his. He's building another house here to stop being pop capped, because these 5 spearmen were there, and unfortunately they've fallen behind these skirmishers. So he's really struggling. And the other thing is he's not actually explored much of the map, so he's not aware of where the next set of resources are as things start to run out, whereas I'm in a much stronger position with that. I've now got, let's say, 6 farms, which is fairly decent as long as you get the first upgrade or 2. I mean, at this stage I'm still on phase 1, but my population is actually, it's only 69. That's really not that great. Sorry, I've really I sound incredibly disappointed there, but I actually was incredibly disappointed. I would expect to be on a population much closer to 100 at this stage. So I'm finally, hopefully, it's because of that food problem. So because I didn't have sufficient food gathering, and I really need to get these upgrades going. So I need to get to phase 2, but to do that I need the food, and to get the food I need more troops, and so on. So it's a big kind of catch-22 at this stage. I've been not producing enough more women, so there are 10 women here that are gathering, or 5 it says, but it looks like it should be 10. Oh no, there's another farm there. So yeah, there's another 5 women that I need to really pull back, and there they are. They've, as if by magic, they are now going to start getting some food together, and I'm really in position now to progress to phase 2, hopefully relatively shortly, and keep on producing troops. So these guys here are going to start building houses to make sure I don't get capped. I've got plenty of wood, so it's a good idea at this point to just build up a reserve of houses so that I can just really start spamming those troops out as soon as possible. And I'm finally heading to phase 2, and I'll be there just after the 10-minute mark. He's now made this expansion a little bit further. He's got 10 guys. They're spearmen, which is good troops to have at this point. They've got twice the health of skirmishers or archers, and they also have a +3 attack against horses. So if I send any cavalry along here, those spearmen, there's a good number of them, they can chase them away fairly easily. So let's see what my opponent, again, he's still not really explored much of the map. He had a load of camels and he successfully hunted those. He's got another load of camels here. He's got some troops. He's got a nice mixture of spearmen and skirmishers, which is a good combination. What he could be doing with these camels is approaching them from the other side and pushing them towards this storehouse or farmstead, because in doing so there's less of a distance for them to cover. So he could easily have pushed them all to this side and then just shot them with an arrow and kind of chased them until they get close to here, then kill them, and then you've got a much better position. So I'm starting to really get my population going a little bit more quickly going. He's just getting the farming upgrade, but he's very, very reliant on hunting at this point, and without having secure or explored much of the map, he's just got these camels, and they're only worth actually 200 food each. So he really does need to work out where he's going to get some additional food from quite quickly, because I mean there are presumably camels elsewhere on the map, but actually there's some over here. That could be it basically. So well, looking at that, actually I'm a bit the map wasn't exactly evenly divided. I didn't get any camels, and he's got two groups right by his base and one very nearby. But that's the way it goes sometimes. So I'm now feeling confident. I'm nearly ready to get the upgrade on the houses. I've got an additional capacity of 15. I really need to get this upgrade as soon as possible, because once I get that house upgrade, I can then start producing troops at a significantly increased rate. And there you go, another 20 that are going to be there in the next 30 seconds has pushed me into almost 50 population advantage. I really need to get this upgrade as soon as possible. Haven't got that yet. And also I've got all the wood upgrades that I can get, but I'm still only the first upgrade on metal and stone in, so I really need to again get those going, because particularly with the slingers I want to start mining as much stone as I can. I'm quite fortunate that I've got a lot of stone nearby, so I suppose I might be have been kind of shafted a little bit with the camels, but on the positive side, considering I mostly want to make slingers as the Britons, I have at least been given a hell of a lot of stone. So each to their own. So he's now got a group of cavalry that he's gathering together. If I didn't know better, I'd say that was to make some kind of attack. If he is going to do that, which is not a dreadful idea, what I'd say is this is far, far too late in the game. Like, the idea that 20 cavalry will be able to do any damage at 13 minutes when someone's probably got a population of pushing, it could easily be a population of 200 to 250. I have been playing recently and trying to kind of literally just practice in the sandbox at getting more quickly, or building my armies up more quickly, and I can now get like to 300 troops in about 16 minutes. So, and that's it's all map dependent, though, in fairness, and obviously if someone were to attack you, then that would make a big difference. But nonetheless, it's not inconceivable I'd have 200, and I've got 150 population. And when you look at the percentage of those that are women as well, there's only 47, so 72 slingers, and the idea that 72 slingers would be scared by 20 cavalry is, yeah, insane. So I've scouted out this area up here, which I think is interesting. I'm basically just hovering these guys here to keep a watch on what's going, because what I really want is to make my onward expanse there. There's loads of wood, which is helpful. There's these berries, which would be interesting as well. And he's got his cavalry coming in there. The good thing about this map is there are plenty of resources around, albeit they're in strange places. So let's have a look at this from my perspective and just see what happens as these cavalry come in. So they should be appearing any second. I've not got great vision of them, which is interesting, but if he does come into this part, then I've got plenty of just skirmishers, slingers, and there's one. Here they come. So they're going to attack the women. Good for them. The women I instantly run them into the houses. I don't think any were killed, and that does not bode well for him. He's now decided he's going to come after my miners, and that's not wise. Admittedly, there's only, I think, one arrow comes out from here when you've got women in there. There's not the production, or not as many arrows as I would have wanted, but what can you do? And he's got 10 cavalry left. They're running away, but unfortunately they've run into a group of 55 slingers, and they're all but dead. So that was, yeah, a really not a great rush, I have to say. Didn't do a particularly good job there, but never mind. So I'm now looking at building a market, which I hope will, which will allow me to hopefully get closer to phase 3. I've got that market, and I've got this tower. So these women need to get on with doing something else. They can't just sit there indefinitely. So I've only got the 2. Oh no, I've got one more entity of class down. So I must have. Yes, I've built the armory, blacksmiths, and I've got the first ranged infantry upgrade, and I'm getting the body armor for infantry as well. And this is going to put me in a strong position to actually just go and launch an attack on him. Now, this will be my fourth item that I need to progress, and there you go. I'm going straight to phase 3. I've got 8 farms, a 9th one on the way, and I generally like to, just to be on the safe side, have 10. 10 farms generally gives you a sufficient food income that you can launch assaults. I mean, sometimes you don't actually even need that much. But the good thing about this map is that it does have plenty of resources, and there's plenty of space as well in order. So what I'll be able to do, I'm building a new town centre here, and I'll be able to set a relatively safe path for my what they call their traders to come straight up here. They're going to be protected by so many troops who are mining and doing whatever that he's not really going to be able to disrupt that trade flow, and then that will allow me to launch more and more, to create more resources without needing to actually get the resources from mining or whatever else as things start to run out. Having got to this point in the game, I realise it's quite a long game, so I'm going to actually speed it up to very fast, and let's see what difference that makes in terms of the game. So looking at this from my perspective, I've still not explored his side of the board. It's not a chess game, much as I like to think of this as being similar to chess, in terms of particularly a lot of the strategies and how you control the centre of the board. It's not a board, I've just said that. Control the centre of the map and so on, to make sure that you're in a strong position and guarding your flanks and looking at the strengths of relative units against others. It's all quite it's a real-time strategy game. It's strategic. Okay, I'm building my market, so I've got these 3 women, and then those women will also be able to pop in here and start to gather these fruits. And I have 69 cavalry. It's not cavalry at all. 69 slingers, whereas my opponent, let's have a quick look. His population now, what is he looking at? 126. He's going to phase 3 as well. So he's 90 troops behind. So he really does need to get a bit of a move on, basically, to try and get as many troops. He's got 4 areas that he could be producing from, and he's not producing from any of them because he doesn't have sufficient food, it seems, unless he's just suddenly spent a lot. No, he just doesn't have the food, so he really needs to get these. He's now getting as many upgrades as he can, but he's only got 6 fields. That said, they are well protected, and he's starting to build a fortress, which, having got to phase 3, is a very good idea. I'm also starting to build. I've finished my fortress, so as you can see, if you look at the mini map, I'm in control of, over, well, like twice as much area as he is. And if I were able to expand out here, then there's more stone, or even if I was to expand out here, there's lots more wood. So it's more difficult for him to expand as I create territory. One of the things that is good to do is simply to build, if you've got the resources, anything which expands your territory outwards. So building barracks on the edge pushes things out. Things particularly like fortresses do a great job. You can see the amount of additional territory that's been gained by that fortress. He's also now he's building a storehouse, and he's built this, which is a very, very good monument. I really like that monument. It gives your troops 20% additional damage if they're in that range. So you'll quite often see when people are playing like the Corinthian Isthmus map, they add that on their side of the isthmus because it's very difficult to basically attack anyone that isn't actually receiving a benefit from this this monument. And now he's building a second tower, so he's trying to fortify around his base. This is a well-placed tower. It's going to cover this wood, but it also means that he's going to have advanced warning and also have a little bit of protection for these guys that are doing this wood, chopping that wood. As he's only got, well, he's got his hero, Viriato, and what does Viriato offer? Where's Viriato gone? So Viriato is going to give him a loot increase. I don't actually know how loot works, so that's interesting there. Okay, he gets increased loot, so I think maybe if you kill an opponent, then on occasions you get some like wood or something, some of their resources, who knows, something to look up. Right, I'm now this is interesting because the maximum population is 250. I didn't realize that. I thought it was 300. So I've got 250, but I've only got, how many traders do I have? Only a handful. Only 8 traders, which isn't as many as I would have liked. So what I'm attempting to do now is to build a load of barracks right on the front line. I've only got the 1 ram, and I can't, although I've ordered will to fight to increase my troops' ability, that's stuck behind 3 rams in the queue, so I need to cancel those rams and get the will to fight going, or cancel the will to fight from there and build it from this fortress. Something needs to happen, but it looks like anyway we are starting to see an attack. Okay, so his troops are facing off against 90 slingers and 5 spearmen. So the spearmen are there. I really could do with a few more spearmen, but the idea of the spearmen is that they will end up fighting the people that are here and stop them from attacking my slingers, who will do that, and who will then, the slingers will be able to destroy this tower. They've done exactly that. Okay, the tower is it going to fall down? It's on 15. No, I've left it there strangely, so I should either have captured it or destroyed it. Those are the only 2 options. I don't know quite why I've not done that. And the interesting thing here is this is something that I learned the other day. This ram right here, is attacking my fortress. From my point of view, I can't see it, so it's just quite comfortably chatting away, and all I've done is just put my horses back into the fortress, so I'm not aware this ram is here. What you can do, which I learned the other day from an excellent video, is that you put the silhouettes on, and excuse me, and that's really good. You put the silhouette on, and then the silhouette means that I would be able to see that there is a blue ram attacking this fortress. As it is, I'm only going to notice just as it falls down. So now suddenly my horses, my cavalry, are actually going to destroy the ram, but that could have been done a lot earlier. And then looking at the thing now, I've got my rams have been produced, and they need to come back. Yeah, okay, so everyone's coming back, and we're just going to start rebuilding, ready for another attack. That really didn't go as well as I would have liked. So I'm still a good 75 population clear, though. I'm getting these slingers healed as much as possible, so there's 20 of them in there. I'm building a load of barracks. I don't like the position of these barracks, because how do my rams get out? With this in the way and all of this, it looks very much like my rams will have to go all the way around here to actually start attacking. So yeah, in the heat of the moment, in the rush of the battle, I've made a very poor decision there. But never mind, that's that. So with these rams on the front, these barracks on the front line, though, I should now be in a position to produce. And as you can see, there you go. So 2 were able to get out, fortunately, but 1 has had to go all the way around here. That's really bad. So while I've been reinforcing, and now I'm going to start producing slingers from each of these at hopefully a pretty fast rate to get myself back up to well over 100 slingers. He's not getting any wood from here. In fact, what do his resources? His resources look really grim. I mean, look at that. I've got 5,000 wood, he's got 300. I've got 5,500 stone, he's got 600. I've got 3,000 metal, he's got 300. He's got these 2 fortresses, and he's got Viriata again, who's going to give him that loot bonus. I don't really see what that offers. I mean, what are the other options he's got? A reduced training time from a cavalryman and hero swordsman, +1 armor for all soldiers. That one's surely better. But anyway, that's each to their own. If I'm going to attack here, I'm going to have to basically focus on these 2 fortresses, to take those down and take out the whatever this thing's called. And here I go. So another good thing to do is actually, I think these guys are just out of range of his fortress. Some are just getting into range, but if I can destroy this, then that stops him from healing his troops. My dog actually got involved in the thing there, and now he's got 2 rams to defend himself, but I'm going to take out this first. Well, actually, I need to take out the rams first. He's still producing rams on a 1-by-1 basis when he has the resources, and he's trying desperately to take out the rams. I've got, yeah, my troops are just dying somewhat. These guys have got an added bonus. I just need to take out the fortresses. Because he's actually very short of resources. The one thing he has got is stone, so actually he can produce another fortress, but he can't produce any rams, and he's on the defensive. You can see he's boxed in to a tiny sort of space, and I've just got, have I got anyone in there? Like a handful of troops, and they've died. So I lost all my rams and about 100 things, but what I have been able to do is probably produce more traders. No, I haven't produced any more traders, so I've still got 8 traders, and they are getting at the moment 30% wood, 40% stone, 30% metal, with the idea that they can do that. And I haven't got any of the upgrades, which is insane as well. Oh no, I've got one of the upgrades. I really need to get this upgrade though. That's totally worth it. So let's see what happens as I build my second fortress. And this is the thing, because I've got plenty of resources and I've got all of these things on the front line, in the space of like 45 seconds I'm going to have another 40 slingers, whereas he's really, he's not able to produce his he's really not producing very much at all. So because he hasn't got the resources to do so, he's going to send in some rams, but they are just going to be, well, my cavalry are going straight into this fortress, and here they go. The cavalry destroy the rams, and the thing is, he can't afford to lose these rams. He can't produce them again, so he's got very little that he's gained from that. That's it. But I'm again 90. I'm at virtually population limit, but I should really be producing slingers at in groups of 5 as a in advance. So you produce the slingers in advance so that as the population gets freed up, more and more of them come in. That is his chance to defend is gone. I've got a load of rams now. These rams need to get in there and start attacking. Are these? Yeah, now I've done it. So you see they're producing slingers 5 at a time, and in doing so, as these slingers get killed, the next group of slingers will just come forward. And what I'm doing now, I'm hopefully going to, I'm just trying to protect the rams. So as the people come in to attack the rams, I'm trying to kill those so the rams can take out this fortress. So I think once we get that fortress done, it's going to be very difficult for him to rebuild it. I was hoping to pull the rams away and actually capture that fortress, but it didn't happen. But he is now, what have I got here? 10, 12 of them, because unfortunately I've set my muster point to be that. Stupidly, I've sent all of these new slingers just to stand by the fortress rather than join the fight. So they didn't actually get any more. And this, I think these extra slingers might be just enough to allow this, if I can just kill this small group of swordsmen. No, I can't quite stop them and get the fortress, but that's still one of his main areas of defence is gone, and I'm still producing slingers. And now finally I've set the muster point to somewhere decent, so I've just got slingers coming after groups of slingers, and now as I'm running out of stone, I've got skirmishers coming forward, and this is looking increasingly desperate for him. So he's bartering food for wood in an attempt to try and just get some resources together. He's got plenty of food. What I need to do, these guys, they really need to actually, I think they might be attacking. They're attacking the thing. I've got my 3 rams. That's going to go. I was 5 rams there. Having got this down to about half, these guys, they're going to struggle to take over. They need to take it out a little bit more. But now with the fortress going, the fortresses are something that give a real population a loyalty bonus. And let's see if they could take out the this next tower. It looks pretty grim, but they have got, he's got sufficient troops. I'm killing the guys that have just been expelled from that tower, and what I really need to build up that tower. But having got my attack in, he's lost at this point. But as you find with these sort of games, actually, I would normally at this point just resign, because I think the game's lost. It's just kind of a waste of my time to try and protect, try and attack or defend for a long amount of time for nothing. But perhaps that's a mistake, because I think it's actually quite a good skill to be able to just hold on and defend for a while. And what he's doing is exactly that. So he's basically, if you look at his resources, his population's virtually gone. He's got almost no resources, but he is doing what he can with the resources that he has to attempt to hold on for a little bit longer. But there's a certain inevitability about this now, particularly as I've got, if I just have a look, I'm going to just show how many, oh gosh, right, you, I don't know if, I have to be, there you go. Okay, so let's have a look what he's got going. There's just loads of, he's got all of these, I've got all of these troops that are coming through. He's totally, basically lost. Have I run out of wood? Is that why? I'm running low on wood, but I've got plenty. I've got my 12 cavalry who have taken on a purely defensive job. and I'm building that. What he's done, interestingly, is he's decided to build a town centre out here. He's got a small group of people, and that will give him some additional resources, and he's hoping they're going to stay unharassed, which they actually they will do for a while. And can he build up his population? He's managed to get it up a little bit, and he's built another one of these revered monuments, but I'm going to increase the speed to twice now because this is just the very end of the game. So I've now got a large group. I've got 94 skirmishers, 9 slingers, a couple of rams, and more rams on their way as soon as the population capacity is filled up. And here we go. Actually, I'll just slow this down a little bit because that's actually really hard to watch. It's quite quite jumpy. So these guys are going to just do a massacre on all of these. His priests all being shot as well. He's desperately trying to get some slingers involved, and he's got slingers and spearmen, and if the spearmen die, then there's no way that he can stop the ram. So at the moment I'm trying to capture this, but not managing to do. It's getting close. Is it? I don't actually know if it is getting closer to being captured. No, he's bolstered it, so I just need to take it out. I thought for a second I might be able to capture that tower, but not possible. That's gone. If I have a look, yeah, still producing the skirmishers who are just coming in and just killing off his troops. This has got one swordsman in it, but will be knocked down shortly. And with that, that is basically the end of the game. There's still the actual finishing it off to do, but this group of people, he's not got anything that can actually really stop it, has he? Now he's got 71 troops. If I can capture this, which I'm just about to, that would be great, because then I can heal up my troops, which will be a bonus. So I need to just capture that. I've done it, and now just garrison it with some troops, and the rest of them who are now getting healed can use their range weapons to support the rams to destroy all of his places that are producing troops. So that's basically the end of that game. There's obviously a little bit left, but it's just, there's nothing really that he can do at this stage. It was an interesting one. Like in terms of his actual his rating and stuff, I thought it would be tougher, but he was quite slow to produce and didn't get things. Have I got up to 10? No, I stuck on 9. That's interestingly. Sorry, I just distracted myself there. He didn't make much use of trading, which is difficult, and it's one of those things when you see people that are playing as Iberians, quite often they're playing as Iberians because of the walls, basically, that give them that defensive advantage. So if you've got one of two things, unfortunately. You've either got somebody who's very, very good or is not as good, and so you can approach it in one of two ways. He had that group of cavalry. If they'd attacked a bit more quickly, he could certainly a cavalry rush I'd want to make in the first 3 minutes. You can't wait till 15 minutes is gone with only 20 cavalry. You can if it's like 100 cavalry, because that's totally different. But it was an interesting game. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be more games coming. Hopefully I'm going to try and produce, if I can, another video today. I've got a load of games queued up that I just need to record and comment on. So with any luck, that will happen relatively quickly, and I will be able to produce a video a week, even though I am, again, it's summer, going away, holidays, whatever, and work is quite busy. So we'll see what actually happens over the next few days. So yeah, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy the video, and I hope to see you again soon for some more 0 AD action. Thank you very much. Ciao for now.